Today, I'm going to tell you how I use the law of attraction to overcome $40,000 of debt and how I became debt-free in 6 months. So in 6 months, I went from $40,000 in debt, making the most money I ever made in my life. Ended up living paycheck to paycheck. And now, 6 months later, I am debt-free and I have money in my investment accounts and in savings and I have emergency funds. I started realizing I was living paycheck to paycheck, and I was like, I make all this money. How am I living paycheck to paycheck? So I started looking into it more, and I started realizing part of it was I wasn't grateful for what I had. I just bought more and more and more and more shit because I was like, I make all this money, I can afford it, right? And then I came into this whole debt thing. I'm like, oh, I could get a brand new car. All I need to do is get a car loan, go into debt. And then same thing when I do like a lot of laser facials, not as much anymore now, being smart with my money. And then what I started doing is I went into debt on that. And then next thing you know, I didn't realize I was living paycheck to paycheck until I looked at my credit cards one day and I was like $10,000 in credit card debt because I was using my credit cards for stuff instead of my debit cards. And when I was doing that, I wasn't paying attention. The next thing you know, I'm like, wait a minute. I woke up one day, I was like, I'm making more money than I ever have my entire life. And I'm broke, living paycheck to paycheck, and I have $40,000 in debt. And I think I'm rich because I'm making the most money I ever made my entire life. And once I realized that, I'm like, okay, I know what I don't want. Now I need to start focusing on what I do want. So I started being like, okay, how do I get rid of all this debt? What do I need to start doing? I came across someone who teaches about this stuff. So I attracted that because that's what I was looking for. You know, when you're focusing on something, it comes to you. You know, use the law of attraction. When you're focusing on what you want and you're on that vibration, that thing will come to you. So I started attracting the right information for me to listen to and then apply inspired action. Applied it into my life, and that helped me get over everything. And part of what I did was I was like, okay, so I need to cut my expenses. I spend too much money. I put myself on a budget because you have to know where every single one of your dollars is going or else it will elude you. And then when you're in the process of paying off debt, you don't want to focus on paying off debt because when you're focusing on debt, that's why most people stay in debt because they're so focused on debt and how shitty of a feeling that is. They just attract it more and more and more because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in debt and stressing out. And next thing you know, you have even more bills coming in and then you're stressing out and you're realizing that you're just spending more and more money. And it's because you're focusing on lack. You're focusing on that debt. That's why you want to do a debt repayment system, have it set up automatically, cut your expenses, put yourself on a budget, and that is what the action you do to start overcoming your debt. And the main thing when you do that, because I will say it's hard at first. You have to be in the right mindset. You have to change your mind. You can't get out of debt being the same person that got you into debt. You have to become a different person. And this comes with the law of attraction, with wanting to manifest things. You have to become a different person. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest who you are. And one of the best things to do when you're in the process of getting over debt, cutting your expenses, because it sucks at first. It's gonna feel like you're poor. You're not gonna be going out to eat all the time. So you're gonna have to say no to friends going out to eat all the time. I used to spend at one point, I was spending $200 a week. And I didn't even realize that. I was like, I'm spending $200 a week on food, going out with friends and all that. It's good to go out and have fun with friends, but $800 a month, that's crazy. And I realized so many people spend that kind of money all the time going out to eat too. It's not just me. I realize that. It's crazy how much people spend just going out to eat. I mean, I go out to eat, it's like 40, 50 bucks. I'm like, holy crap. I cook at my home now. I cook at my house. I can make a great meal. I don't need to go out to eat, and I rarely go out anymore. So you gotta focus on gratitude, because this can be very hard for a lot of people, and it's definitely gonna hurt your ego a lot, because your ego always wants to feel important and wants to get all these nice things because it makes you feel good. But then when you don't have those nice things, or you have to sell some of them, or you have to cut back, your ego's like, but I want all this stuff and I can't have it anymore. So one of the best things to do is gratitude. You have to be grateful for what you have. Because if you're not grateful for what you have will be taken from you. Don't focus on lack either. Focus on making more money. Focus on maybe asking for a raise, or if you can do stuff on the side to help you make more money, like if you have the correct car and you want to Uber on the side to make more money in the process while you're paying off your debt, that's great too. You can do that. But you want to also, again, you want to focus on gratitude, and you want to be grateful for what you have, and you want to just focus on abundance. Focus on prosperity. Because you're focusing on abundance and focusing on prosperity, that's what you're going to attract in your life. More of that is going to come into your life. And then you're going to attract more information that'll help you with cutting expenses, like giving you ideas of how to cut expenses. And when you do this, you want to be in a prosperity mindset, because if you're cutting expenses, it can feel daunting and it can feel negative at first, but that's why you have to be in an attitude of gratitude. And in 6 months, it took me 6 months to cut all my expenses, paid off all my debt. And the other thing was, when I was doing that, I was so hyper-focused on paying off my car. I wanted to pay off my car so bad. So bad. I had a goal, right? And I was like, I want to pay off this car. And I had another goal wrapped up too that was similar to it. And what ended up happening is I had a business transaction that I did that accomplished 2 of my goals. And it happened in a way I never in a million years would have thought it would happen. It was the coolest experience of my life, this business transaction. And it helped me pay off my car in literally a couple weeks, because the business transaction was that substantial to me. I made that much money off this transaction that I paid my entire car off. And I was like, this is awesome. Because originally I had $25,000 left in my car and I paid it off in a couple weeks. And I was like, this is great, because that's what I was focusing on. Instead of focusing on, shit, I'm in debt, this car's $25,000 in debt, and focusing on that, I was like, I'm gonna pay this car off. I don't know how, but I'm gonna pay this car off. And I'm gonna do everything I can to pay this car off. I did a lot of shit that financial advisors would not advise you to do to pay off my car, but I did it. And again, I had this business transaction in a million years I would never thought would happen. And I made enough money to pay off that car. And that's because I was focusing on what I wanted. I wasn't focusing on the debt. I was focusing on the car being paid off. But I was having faith, and I knew it was going to be paid off. And now I saved so much money because I cut expenses. And now I look at ways to cut more and more and more expenses. It's kind of like a game to me. You want to make it into a game. It has to be fun. So I made it into a game, and now what I do is I save so much money from my income that I save 50% of everything I make. So 50% of everything I make goes straight into my investment account. It goes towards savings, investing, and all of that stuff. And it all started because I was like, shit, I'm in all this debt. This isn't good. How can I get out of it? And then the law of attraction answered me and said, and brought into my life the right people that helped me with that, the right information, and then that is how I got over it. I want you guys to comment below what your goals are with your debt. I appreciate you guys watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.